Today is a dark day, not only for me and my family, but the whole justice system. And they say that justice is blind and only rich can get the reward and poor are sent to the ghettos. After filing Chapter 7, trustee and their attorneys ganged up on me as well as on my wife's assets and acted like vultures to grab every dollar from us.
This is the story of a successful businessman who not only lost part of his family, but almost everything he has because he stood for honesty, integrity, and truthfulness. We know that the price of telling the truth is always very high, and Manny has paid it dearly in the form of harassment, threats, physical attacks, and legal intimidation through fictitious lawsuits which have put him at the edge of bankruptcy. Manzoor Memon was a victim of those who came after him, and he fought back and is still combating, but at what cost? Which makes you wonder if there really is justice for the poor in the society which is dollar-driven and only those who have money can prevail. This is the story of a one-man army who is fighting this war solo and expects to win because he thinks that the truth will prevail at the end. I now present to you Mr. Manzoor Memon.
See, in 2008, I wrote a book named Is Honesty the Best Policy? And it got very good reviews and people liked it because it was the first time somebody wrote the stories which people want to read it, but people did not dare to write it.
As soon as I started highlighting frauds, several people wanted to shut my newspaper and file lawsuits against me. The good thing was this, that this courthouse, with all the judges, they told the plaintiffs that according to the First Amendment, this publication cannot be shut.
It is the responsibility of the media to point out the problems we have among our elected officials, so I don't really see any problem with that.
In today's time, when you talk about honesty, integrity, and truth, many laugh on you as if you are an alien in this society. Rich people with the power of their money control all the institutions, and there is no hope for the underprivileged, particularly when there's a question of justice for them.
Yeah. There's no basically justice for the poor people. That's bottom line. When you're poor, you're just like dead because money talks and bullshit walks in Texas.
With limited resources, he changed the public opinion and helped so many victims in their cases who could never get justice from this dollar-driven society.
In my 32 years of living in the United States, I have fought many cases, but most of them lost due to inadequate resources in rich and affluent companies as my opponents. I want to give you a few of those examples. Case number 2010-32107, Ghulam Bambewala versus Manzoor Memon and Manzoor Memon. My newspaper is Honesty the Best Policy, has a mission statement to expose the community leaders of their ethical, financial, and criminal activities. Ghulam Bambewala, who has committed many shame bankruptcies, was featured in my newspaper, and he went and filed a lawsuit against me for defamation, for writing good stories. And not only me, he involved my wife also, who had nothing to do with the stories. In the early stage of the case, when I was fighting pro se, there was a summary judgment issued against me. But when I realized that I have no chance, I hired a good attorney, and that summary judgment was vacated, and the outcome of the case is still pending, but I'm pretty sure the justice is going to prevail, and we will show to the jury that Bambewala is basically a businessman who has done sham bankruptcies as stated by Justice Department. Justice Department in a recent case not only took $25 million worth of properties, they even took his home estate property towards the frauds which he has committed against the IRS and other investors. So end of the day, people like him who have made a lot of money with fraudulent deals still prevail in a way that he brags about it everywhere, that he has done a $60 million fraud and he has to pay $25 million back in restitution. Still he is better off with $35 million. So the thing is there a justice for poor? No. This guy did a lot of frauds, made a lot of money, and not only he got away with the crime, he's trying to punish me and my family with different frivolous lawsuits. And end of the day, I will be the sufferer, he will still be ahead of me. So the bottom line is there a justice for poor? No. Case number 2010-66340, Manzoor Memon versus Salim Sayed. My newspaper, Is Honesty the Best Policy, went viral in South Asian communities and got established as a viable source of news. All physical attacks, verbal and telephone threats, harassment, and intimidation of my family and me proved ineffective. All attempts to shut down my newspaper through lawsuits and motions for temporary restraining orders were thrown out due to First Amendment protection. Thanks to all those judges, who protect our rights under the Constitution signed by our forefathers. In frustration, my adversaries joined forces together and financed Salim Sayed, a two-time felon, soliciting men for sex in Houston, Montrose area, then editor of a local newspaper, Urdu Times, published a bilingual anonymous newsletter against me.
The political mistake they made was that it featured not only me, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, and they picked on my friends, supporters, and their spouses, and their children also.
Which backfired on them in the community, and in the end of the day, they could not publish more than 2 issues of that newspaper. So I asked all the friends to go and file a lawsuit against him for defamation, but they did not join me, and I on my own went and filed the lawsuit, and at the end of the day he did not show up on the trial date, and his attorney, again Altaf Adam, a federal felon turned attorney, withdrew his representation on the last day of his trial, and though we should have got a default judgment against him, but judge still refused to give us a judgment and asked that I should hire a proper legal representation, and an attorney can make a motion to get a judgment against him. I decided not to do it because I'm not there to fighting for money or a judgment. We made up a point. The good thing happened out of the lawsuit was that his newspaper was shut down. He was a radio host of a program for last 11 years, and now no radio station would give him time. And we kind of got him out of the business because this guy was a sex offender, and we wanted to make sure that people like him should not be in the forefront of the communities. So end of the day, did justice prevail? No. Is there justice for poor? No. But certain relief was given, and there was a poetic justice served against Salim Sayed, that today everybody in town knows that he's a sex offender, and he was behind that newspaper. Card number 2010-44695, Manzoor Memon versus Pakistan Association of Greater Houston. This is the Pakistani Community Center, which was built in 2007 with a lot of effort by various people of the community. I was involved into this as a trustee since 1998 to 2006, and donated and dedicated my 2 years of my time to build this community center. This used to be a HEB building. We converted it into if you see the shops in the front and a big community hall in the back, which is a 37,000 square feet. And this was supposed to be a non-profit venue, and unfortunately, due to mismanagement, this has gone into litigation with Harris County Appraisal Board, and there is a $162,000 tax due on this property. They are not able to pay the mortgage and the taxes and all that, and eventually this community center, which used to be a dream of Pakistanis, is going to foreclose, and the community is going to lose about $1 million. I, as a person, donated my 2 years of my time, as well as brought in $239,000, which was short, to rebuild this center. Though I got that money back after a lot of effort, but still this project is on the verge of failure. In year 2007, while I was serving as a trustee of Pakistan Association of Greater Houston, then President Ghulam Bambewala masterminded a scheme to appoint lifetime trustees for the association if anybody will donate $25,000 towards the association. It was a very good fundraising effort, and we thought that it will bring a lot of money to the association. But unfortunately, except one or two people, nobody joined that campaign. I gave $22,000 cash, raised them about $50,000, and gave them in kind more than $250,000 worth of donation while I supervised the construction of the Pakistani Community Center. But at the end of the day, when I was featured in Houston Chronicle for 3 times, Ghulam Bambewala thought he should eliminate me because I was getting too famous for him, and because of his political jealousy, he decided not to appoint me as a lifetime trustee. And I decided to file a lawsuit against PAGs to at least recover my $22,000. Simultaneously, in that case, irregularities were done. Particularly, there was a fake lease was signed by the President and the General Secretary of the Pakistan Association of Greater Houston, which was the basis of getting a $1.7 million loan from a bank named Co-America Bank. I made Co-America Bank also part of the case, but that case got tossed out by the judges, and I could not prove my contention that they have done a fraud, and apparently no justice was served, and I did not get my $22,000 back, and they kept the $22,000 back. But if I would have hired a top-notch attorney, I might have prevailed, but again, you have to look in your pocket to see if you can afford it to the high-priced attorneys. So again, the thing is, if you are poor, you are right, you don't get justice. But if you are rich, you get a lot of money, and you can hire high-priced attorneys, you can get justice. So again, there's no justice for poor. Here are the few recommendations and possible solutions which can offer some relief to underprivileged people encountering legal troubles. In criminal and financial fraud cases, restitution should be double the amount of the fraud to ensure that white-collar criminals don't repeat crimes. There should be no political contributions allowed in judicial races, which gives leverage to attorneys funneling money to judges. We should provide special legal protection to media who are exposing white-collar crimes to save the society from people like Madoff and Stanford. At the end of the day, my faith in the legal system is not very strong, as rich and famous buy out the justice through high-priced attorneys, and poor lose their last dollar to fight for justice. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Hugo Black once said, "There can be no equal justice where the kind of trial a man gets depends on the amount of money he has. If you don't have money, you do not have a chance. So there's no justice for poor." But at the end of the day, fighting for the right is very essential. If in the society you let bad things happen and don't fight it, then it means you are as bad as the criminals. So in the same context, Abraham Lincoln said very nicely, "I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right, and stand with him while he is right, and part him when he goes wrong. Today I still feel on high moral grounds that I am right, that I stood for right. I preach and practice to do right, and right will prevail tomorrow. After every dark night, there will be the dawn, and there will be light, and I'm pretty sure the truth will prevail.